I know the gender wage gap exists, but I couldn't tell you exactly what the number is. If I had to guess, I would say 30%.
Yeah, well, I was definitely aware. I would say if I had to guess, I would probably guess around maybe 20%.
I know there's a gap, but if I had to guess, maybe 15%.
Well, it seems that many don't quite know just how significant the gap is when it comes to gender pay. Joining me now, I have Rebecca, a research manager with Parkland Institute, to speak on this. The gap is crazy, and it's the biggest in the country right here in Alberta, so let's chat about that.
Sure. Research that we did in 2015 showed that the gender gap here in Alberta approaches 37%.
It's so high, it blows my mind. I didn't even know it was this high. So to chat about this, I can't believe it's that high. It's quite mind-boggling. March 8th is National Women's Day, and that's why we're here chatting about this. But you guys have a report coming out, so let's dive in and chat about what that report entails.
Sure. We're producing a report with Kathleen Leahy from Queen's University, and it's looking specifically at what are all these factors causing such a huge gender income gap in Alberta, and what can be done to address that, looking at different factors such as pay equity legislation.
And when you say legislation, there's legislation in many other provinces. We're just lacking, and we just don't have it here.
It's true that pay equity legislation has been in place in at least 6 provinces, some going as far back as the 1980s, and Alberta is one of the few that doesn't even have a formal negotiating framework based on pay equity principles. So in that sense, and given the disparities in our economy as well, Alberta is really quite far behind the rest of Canada.
Do you think this isn't talked about enough? I'm curious, now that we're talking about it, obviously it's the forefront of my mind, but I find that I don't hear many people, many women in particular, speaking on this. Is there a stigma attached to it?
I really think there is a cultural expectation around what counts as women's work. And a lot of that has to do with the unpaid work burden that women shoulder. Research that we've done shows that women take on 35 hours a week of unpaid work in addition to any employment that they do, and that's twice as much as men.
I almost want to say girl power to that. What can we do, and viewers at home, myself included, now that I know how significant this is, what can we do to get our voices heard and hopefully get a legislation put in place?
Sure. The easiest way is lobby your MLA, write to the Ministry for Status of Women, educate yourself about pay equity and what that might mean in terms of benefits for Alberta in general, and also challenge the assumptions about what women's work is and how we value it.
There you go. So together, we all need to use our voice, and hopefully we can be heard.